Hi everybody, we're continuing on with what we were talking about yesterday. This is from the talks on Thursday of the week, the 5th day of the week of Beshalach, and that was the 11th of Shevat, and the talks on Shabbos, the Torah portion, the Beshalach Shabbos Shir on the 13th of Shevat. In other words, the Wednesday the Rebbe is going to talk about was the 10th of Shevat, was the yahrzeit by the Frierdiker Rebbe. The 11th of Shevat is when the Rebbe took on his Nesius. It's also the day after Yud Shvat, so it's also the level of Rebbe becoming Rebbe, and he took on a year later, took on his Nesius in a complete way, and then finally we have Shabbos Shir, which is on the 13th. Now, so we talked about, this is from the book called The Royal Words, and we can get this, as you look on the description, you can see where you can get the book. I've been trying to talk to people, trying to get people to look at this, because I really feel that what I'm teaching is what the Rebbe told me to do, and it's really something that's bringing out from what I've told, what the Rebbe wants us to know and do in order that we can be happier, healthier, holier. The 3 H's, happy, healthy, and holy, and we can actualize the Gula Shlema for the whole world. So it's very important stuff, because Rebbe talks about different levels. Like right now, he talks about much higher levels. In other words, there are a lot of people, they think that the idea of Torah and mitzvahs, that everything is a revolution, is reaching a higher level towards Mashiach. Every day, every month, everything is higher. Even though sometimes it appears on the outside low, it's very much higher. Like we know that on every Rosh Hashanah, when we blow the shofar, and Rosh Hashanah is a day when we ask Hashem that He should become our king. We ask Him, Hashem, please be our king. And then we reveal this level of kingdom, a new level from Hashem, a new level of godliness, a new level of wonderfulness that was never revealed. And Hashem comes down, and again, down Rosh Hashanah, from the blowing of the shofar, says He's going to be our king, but not like He was the last year, but in a much more beautiful, strong way. So every week, every day, every week, every year, we're getting closer and closer to the final revelation of Melech Mashiach on the third base of Mikdash, and therefore also getting more holier. Each generation is something, has everything special from the prior generations, and everything from this. Like the Rebbe explains, when he's talking about the Nasi Mador, he explains that from each Rebbe is Mamali Mokoma, the footsteps of the prior Rebbe. So what's it mean he fills the shoes? It means he fills the shoes of the prior Rebbe completely and adds to it. So we have stir, and then we studied this is my own putting together a few things. Then we stir, and then we're studying now that when something happens with the Nasi, that this happens with the Nasi, that this happens to the whole generation. So it has to be, and the Nasi are called. That means every generation. If every generation, every Nasi, every subsequent generation has the completion of all the service of the prior generation, we add to it. And especially when we're looking at our generation, which our generation is the generation of Mashiach, the generation of final redemption, our generation, the most special generation ever in the world, that we have to say also that our specialness means that we have everything from the prior generations, and everything, all the avodah that the Jews have done since the creation of the world, and we add to something special. And this, I think, is a lot of what the Rebbe is explaining. If you want to know my opinion, the Rebbe is explaining. That's what the Rebbe is doing. He's explaining the specialness of our generation, the specialness of the Rebbe, the specialness of the generation, specialness of Hashem, and that by learning this, we start to feel this and live this. Now, today I asked a friend of mine whether he got a chance to look at this. One of a friend of mine in Shul, and he said, "Well, I looked for a minute, but it seemed too high." So I thought a minute, because I know that these matters and what we're discussing are very, very amazingly high. So I realized that, first of all, a lot of the things of these things being amazingly high is that even though they are high, but since the Rebbe is teaching it to us and bringing it to us, it's for us. That's the first most important thing. The Rebbe brings and tells us something, it's for us. So therefore, he's telling us these different levels, and he's telling us that this is how we should live and how we should bring the light, because this is what is happening nowadays. So when you're learning these in Yona's manners, these wonderful things the Rebbe is explaining, don't worry if you don't understand it all. Don't worry if you don't get it. If you get a little bit, some of it, like we talked before, and I don't know if I learned. I think we talked about this. Yeah, because I'm learning this also in another class with the Rabbi Ben Yomenson, and so sometimes I'm not too sure what I learned with him and what I've taught on the share. So anyways, so I talked about over before that the idea is that when you feed a baby, a child, you have to feed Lefi Ataf. It says Yosef was the tzaddik of the generation, that he gave everybody food, and he gave the baby, the taf, the little children, they had to give them extra because they crumble the food, and they don't eat a little bit of it. They don't eat everything. You give them a big piece of bread, and maybe they'll get a third piece in, so you have to give them 3 pieces of bread. So he says, the Rebbe explains over here that when you crumble, that even these crumbs don't cut. Some people only take a little at a time. So this is the same thing, is whatever we can get out of this, any things that we can see, first of all, the wonders of what's happening in our generation and the wonders of the Rebbe, this itself is special. And if we study it, and if you go through it, now Baruch Hashem, it's in English, and you can go through it more and more. If you have questions, you can ask people. You'll get more and more out of it, and you'll be a much happier person, and you'll be doing what the Rebbe wants to bring the final revelation of the holy, in the third base of Mikdash, the third holy temple right away. Okay, so right now we're the sequence starts on 164. We're actually on 167 or 168. So I'm just going to go over the points. The first one that we first talking about, that the 10th of Shevat was the yahrzeit of the Frierdiker Rebbe, and this is Shabbos Beshalach, happens is the Shabbos afterwards. So therefore, there's an elevation from the completion of everything starts from is it by the Shabbos, and especially we see that the fourth day of the week is the beginning of Shabbos, because we start seeing the Shabbos songs on it. And then we started talking about also that especially this Shabbos was special. We know that everything moves with song, the song of life. Everything moves from one level to another level, to higher levels. It says the moon and the stars are always singing to Hashem. It's like they're moving. Everything moves with song. So it says, and since we see that the Shabbos also talks about this idea of song, we learn song because everything elevates itself on Shabbos. So there's an Indian from Shir also in song on Shabbos. Shabbos is Indian from Shabbos. And we say that this Shabbos of Beshalach is also the Shabbos that we see it's called Shabbos Shira, when the Jews sang thanks to Hashem thanked Hashem for the splitting of the Red Sea. So it says that the Rebbe says, since Shabbos, Shir comes from Shabbos, we have to say that maybe the Rebbe Tzemacharish said everything comes to this Shabbos, the Shabbos Shir, which is in Parshas Beshalach. So therefore, that gives the strength to all the Shabboses of song. And then the Rebbe started bringing in and comparing all the different days. He says that you have the 10th of Shvat, and then you have the 11th of Shvat, and then we had that the Shabbos that it came out was the 13th of Shvat. So first it says that the 10th of Shvat was with the completeness of it, like we just said, was Shabbos Shira, which is on the 13th of Shvat. And we also have the idea of the 15th of Shvat, which comes on the few days later, which is called Tu B'Shvat, the Rosh Hashanah Leilanos. It has special minds. So Rebbe says all of these things are connected. Rebbe's connecting everything together. Everything has a certain connection. And when you have good things, they help each other out. So like when you have beautiful diamonds and you put them together, they shine much brighter because they shine with each other and shine much brighter. So we have wonderful things like the month it's full of month, like the Rebbe says, is that the new year for the trees. All these different things are special, and the Rebbe looks at what's happening and explains it. Okay, so now also we talked about the portion that we always reread before the giving of the Torah. We read these different parshas, Beshalach, excuse me. The Rebbe says that we're talking about Beshalach and Yisro, and that both of this, Beshalach and Yisro, that both of them are preparation. I'm going to go down through number 2, page 167, number 2. And by way of preference, the common focus of Parshas. So if you wanted to understand the greatness of what was happening, the Rebbe is going to explain that the common focus of Parshas Beshalach and Yisro, namely the preparation for the giving of the Torah. So the Torah was given. We see what did the Jews have to do to prepare for giving the Torah. There was Beshalach and there was Yisro. So let's see what they mean. This is a preparation. The Parshas of Beshalach, which speaks about the culmination of the Exodus from Egypt at the splitting of the Red Sea, which is the preparation for the giving of the Torah, as the verse says that when you will take the nation out of Egypt, they will serve Hashem on this mountain. So we see that the whole idea of going out from Egypt is to serve Hashem, is to receive the Torah. That's the first area that we can see from them. To leave Egypt, they had to leave Egypt to receive the Torah. And the Parshas of Yisro, the next Parshas of Yisro, is the next Parsha, which is in addition to it being the Parsha of the giving of Torah, the beginning of it mentions, and the entire portion is named after this, is the acknowledgement of Yisro. So the whole portion of what the Torah is given is how Yisro gave thanks to Hashem and acknowledged, praised Hashem, as a result of him hearing about the splitting of the Red Sea and the war of Amalek. He related in the Parshas Beshalach. And what did he say when he heard the great things that Hashem did for the Jewish people, these two things, the destroying Amalek and the splitting of the Red Sea? He says, now I know that Hashem is greater than all idols. Said Yisro used to be, he was one of the biggest idol worshippers. And he was the guy, I guess maybe he must have been looking for Hashem, maybe looking in the wrong place. But he did this either, he went to every, because at those times, they done as much, we know, see it as much today, that the evil had a lot of power, and there were a lot of spiritual power. They could do they could do things that are spiritual, that people could think that is holy when it's not holy. So he says, so he knew all the different, like we see when we talk about the going out from Egypt, we see how the magicians from Paro was able to do all kinds of things. All the plagues they were able to duplicate almost, to one way or another, a lot of them. So they were very, very powerful, and Yisro was he knew everything. He was the most expert in these things. He could conjure up spirits, he could do whatever he wanted to do. He could do special stuff, I'm sure, because he was an expert. So therefore, but he was looking for Hashem, and he gave it all away just for Hashem. So when I found out that Hashem did these wonderful things, he really, really gave him such thanks. That this thanks that Yisro from the bottom of her heart gave him, this was a preparation for giving the Torah. So, now we're on page 169. And we may say that the specific details of the preparation for the giving of the Torah mentioned in Parshas of Beshalach and Yisro include also and mainly the preparation for the ultimate perfection, the giving of the Torah, which will be in the time to come. The Torah Kasik will be revealed by me, as alluded to, as it's hinted to. Okay, so what we're saying here, that everything that the Jews did in Beshalach and Yisro, namely leave the spreading of the Red Sea, what we talked about, and Yisro was the praising of Hashem. All of this has to do with the final redemption. Not only the redemption that we received Egypt, but the final redemption. As it says in the time to come, it says, Torah's secrets will be revealed to me, that we're going to see the secrets, that we're going to come and receive a new Torah, so to speak. In the Parshas, and it's not a new Torah, the new Torah in certain ways. We'll have explained that in another time. But the specialness and new revelations of the Torah never revealed before. In the Parsha of Beshalach, where in the song of the sea, sung after the splitting of the sea, which is a culmination. So when we say every morning, when we're saying prayers, we sing Az Yashir Moshe, we sing the song of Moshe. And let's see if I can get the English or whatever here. So we sing it in the morning. Every day we sing the morning prayers. That then Moshe sang the song of Israel, sang of the children of Israel, sang the song, and it talks about how all the wonderful things did in fighting and killing the Egyptians, and that they've been. And the end talks about how that all the neighbors, all the other people were very afraid for the Jews, and then it says at the end that Hashem will bring us, and you will bring them and plant them on the mountain of your inheritance, the place which you, O Lord, have made with your abode, the sanctuary which your hands, O Lord, have been established. The Lord will reign forever and ever. The Lord will reign forever and ever. So they explain this building with two hands. This goes on the third base of Mikdash. This song has to do with the final redemption of the third base of Mikdash. This is what we say every day. So let's see. So the song, as we see, this song after the splitting of the sea, with its culmination, is that the sanctuary of your hands, O Hashem, have established. So Hashem will make it. It'll be with two hands. And when will it be built with two hands? When is God going to use both of his hands? When God will reign forever and ever in the time to come, when the entire kingdomship is his. So when everything is Hashem, that's when he's going to build the base of Mikdash with two hands. That's one. It talks about. Number two, it also talks about the war with Amalek. Now, Amalek is one of the mitzvahs. He's like the representative of total evil, And he's and it's a mitzvah that we're supposed to destroy him. This was the idea of Amalek, was the one with Hitler, Makshimos Amalek. Amalek is what we know that the whole story by Purim, that Haman was a descendant of Amalek. He wanted to destroy the Jews. Very interesting. Also, it says that since we really don't know who Amalek is, but the law according to Judaism now is that anybody who's a complete anti-Semite, who just hates the Jews and hates the Jews, is considered Amalek, and therefore it comes out that the Arabs are the level of Amalek, that they just want to kill us. So anyways, but we're talking about that we're supposed to destroy this evil. So, and the war with Amalek is at the end of the Parshas Beshalach, which is culminate. I will obliterate Amalek, for his hand is uplifted, swearing by the throne of Yud, Hashem, a war for Hashem with Amalek from generation to generation. So now that we're talking about that, Hashem says, raises up his hands and swears that he's going to destroy Amalek. Hashem swore that his name was not complete, and his throne is not complete until the name of Amalek will erase, until we erase this evil. As the verse says, the enemy is annihilated forever. This refers to Amalek, that the level of the evil would go away forever, this level of evil. But does he say after this? He says that Amalek is destroyed. He says this, he said, Yud Kei Vav Kei, that Hashem shall reside forever and ever. That behold, the name of Hashem, he establishes his kisei, his throne for judgment. Behold, his throne is complete. In other words, we're saying over here that until we destroy the evil, until the evil is totally destroyed of Amalek, Hashem is not complete. Let's look at 31, okay, down below page 170. And this receives greater appreciation, since also the ultimate perfection of the Beis HaMikdash, the sanctuary, we're talking about which will be the third Beis HaMikdash, the sanctuary which your hands, O Hashem, have established, is dependent upon erasing Amalek, destroying Amalek, as the emphasis in the three mitzvahs that the Jewish people were commanded to fulfill upon entering the land. One was to appoint a king for themselves, to eradicate the remembrance of Amalek, and then third was to build the Beis HaMikdash, which from this it is understood that through the complete phenomena of appointing a king, one, and eradicating the remembrance of Amalek, destroying this evil, the ultimate perfection of the building of the Beis HaMikdash is accomplished. So therefore we're going to destroy Amalek. The destruction of with the destruction of Amalek is one of the main preferences of bringing Mashiach and appointing the king. Well, the first one he says appointing the king. I know that I didn't see it inside, but I was in mikveh today, and some guy was so excited. And he wanted to talk to me about it, but we were in mikveh. I said he couldn't talk too much about it. And he says that he saw on a video when the Rebbe was when one of the people was asking the Rebbe about, why doesn't he appoint himself as Mashiach? The Rebbe says, I can't appoint myself. You have to appoint me. And this is why am I bringing this up now? Because we say that these are one of the three mitzvahs is you have to appoint a king. Doesn't mean a king gets up and says, I'm appointed. You have to. So we have to. That's the whole idea. We have to accept the kingdomship of the Rebbe Melech Mashiach in order to reveal it, to bring it out more. So that the power of the Rebbe and the power of us will be more greater, and that we can finally get out of this gullus forever and ever and be the third Beis HaMikdash. Okay. So now we're talking about the Parshas Yisro. Yisro, how he gave so much thanks. And the Parshas is just explaining because he's teaching that Yisro is named, so since the Yisro, he added a passage on the Torah. It says Yisro, a passage and you shall see. Okay, so this week's Parsha is called Yisro, and why is it called Yisro? Because Yisro added a Parsha in the Torah. What was the Parsha he added? It says and you shall see. It goes into what the Rebbe is going from the first word about and you shall see. And it's talking about when Moshe Rabbeinu was judging the people from morning to night. So Yisro told him it was too much, and you have to give everybody to help you out, and have to hire judges and for different levels. And so this is what they did. But he says, and you will see. So the Rebbe says, so what's it mean? This alludes to additional Yisro of Torah insights. What's it mean? He's bringing out a different explanation. That this hints that the additional things that Yisro means that the additional parts of the Torah insight to come in the time to come, that the secrets were revealed by me, visual teaching techazah. So the Rebbe is bringing out, where's he bringing the Sefer Memorim? Wow, this is amazing stuff. Look at 33. Oh, that's 33. So the Rebbe is explaining, Techazeh means to see. So what will be seen? You will see the secrets of the Torah. In the time to come, the secrets of the Torah revealed. And let's look at the footnote 30, people on the page, bottom one, page 71. And the reason it says, Techazeh, you should see in Targum language, Aramaic, a foreign tongue. Why doesn't it say in Hebrew? Although it says, in the time to come, we will see godliness clearly, everything will be seen, it's because now it is hidden, and the main revelation, the matter of seeing, will be in the time to come. That's why it says in the future. So we see that the whole idea of Yisro we were talking about before, there's also a preparation for the future that Yisro says, you will see this talks about Hashem talking about the final future redemption. And to understand the context, this, now we're at page 171, the second paragraph, and to understand the content of the Song of the Sea and the War of Amalek, and their continuation with acknowledgement of Yisro and their relation to the completeness of the giving of the Torah in the time to come. So we have to understand, how does all this fit? The song by the sea, the War of Amalek, and Yisro thanking Hashem for doing the wonderful things, how this relates to the giving of the Torah that's going to happen very soon. And we're also in the middle of it. Actually, we're learning part. This is part of the Torah Chadash. Chassidus is like the new Torah. So we're learning also, right now, we're tasting what's going to be in a full way in the time to, and when the final redemption. And to understand the content of the Song of the Sea and the War of Amalek and their continuation with acknowledgments of Yisro and the relationship to the completeness of the giving of Torah in the time to come, we will preface the explanation of the verses at the beginning of the Parsha. And it was when Baruch sent out the nation, and Hashem did not lead them to the land of Philistine, which is close. It is close and a good lead and good to lead them that way. And that was the Jews, when they left Egypt, could have left Egypt and gone straight in a straight path, very quick path, should have gone straight into Eretz Yisrael. But Hashem didn't lead them. He didn't lead the Jews there. He took us a roundabout way. So why? It was close and a good way for them. It was a straight path to enter the land of Canaan, which you're going to drag on right away. And instead, Hashem steered the nation through the desert by way of the Red Sea. So we went a totally different way, not the way it should have gone if we wanted to go to the Holy Land, which therefore it was necessary for the Red Sea to split, followed by the Song of the Red Sea, the Song of the Sea. In other words, the Jews, instead of going this way, and they could have gone straight across right away, Hashem took them another way, and since He took them the other way, and the Egyptians were on them, were on their back, so therefore it became necessary for the Jews, for the miracle of the splitting of the Red Sea. So He led them a different way, so it's necessary for the Red Sea to split, and the continuation, after that they went through the splitting of the Red Sea, the continuation to this was the War of Amalek, and in continuation of both of them, the splitting of the Red Sea and the War of Amalek was acknowledgement of Yisro, as we explained. So here we have these wonderful things that happened, and they all happened because Hashem didn't bring us right away into the land of Israel. Okay. Little footnote I was looking down in here, that he says that the second, there was two wars with Amalek. There was one war with Amalek when we were going to Israel, and Hashem said you shouldn't go because you didn't listen to me, and they went. A lot of people died. But this war, the first war with Amalek, I don't know if anybody died. I don't think any of the Jews died, and they almost completely defeated Amalek. So it says, okay. Now let's go on number 3. So we're trying to understand what these 3 things do, what these things have to do with the giving of the Torah, and especially the giving of the Torah Chadash, the new Torah, the Gula Shleim of the final redemption, which is coming immediately. Number 3 on the verse, in the Torah that he did not lead them is explained the Medrash that from Egypt to the land of Israel is 11 journeys. Instead, Hashem brought them to the desert for 40 years. As the verse says in the Torah Parshas Dvar, 11 days from Mount Sinai. And then it says, and it was in the 40th year. This is the meaning of the verse. Hashem did not lead them through the straight path. He led them to a way that took 40 years, a long, long time. And the explanation of the phenomenon is that instead of 11 journeys, brought them through the desert for 40 years is a positive way. So why would he do this? Why couldn't we just let it go? We had such a terrible life in Egypt, and we were beat on, they killed our children. It was a terrible life, and now we go say Hashem takes us out, bring us to the final redemption. Why do you have to bring us that we get attacked and we do things and because we're thirsty, we fasted, all the troubles? Why couldn't Hashem, He's Hashem, why doesn't He bring it right away? The Rebbe says there's a really positive way. There's a really good reason that Hashem did this, and it was for our own good and for the good of everything. The Midrash explains the verse, 11 days from Mount Sinai, 11 days, alluded to the commandment of I'm Hashem, the unique one of Esser, one of the Esser, the 10 commandments. So the Midrash, which is referred to as Echad, the source of all other commandments. So in the Midrash it says that there are 11 days. So there are 11 days we turn to the first commandment, the first word, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I'm the Lord your God. That in one, even though it's the first of the 10 commandments, it includes all the commandments. It includes all the commandments, and therefore it has a uniqueness, and that's called the level 11, the one that's beyond the 10, which refers to the Echad, the one that the source of all the commandments, meaning that the 11 days from Chorev refers to the level of 1, namely, what's it mean 11? It refers to this special of 1, that his essence, blessed be he, the commander of the commandments, who transcends the 10 commandments that were given at Mount Sinai, and the level of so this is the command. Well, I'm misplaced. Okay, let's go over this. Close the window there, if you could, please. Oh, it's disturbing, the noise. Okay, let's go over this again. So the 11 days from Korah refers to the level 1, namely his essence, blessed be he, that the commander of the commandments, that Hashem is the command everything, who transcends the 10 commandments that were given at Sinai, the level you are 1, however, not in the tally of 10, that the essence Hashem who transcends the 10 spirits of Hashem's revelations. So the Rebbe explains over here, did you close the window? Pull it down. So the Rebbe explains over here that, sorry guys, that there's a level of 11 that's above 10. This level of 11 that's above 10 is beyond 10. And the 10 has to do with the way Hashem, the 10 spheres, how Hashem reveals himself in the world. And the 10 commandments have to do with the way Hashem reveals himself in the world. So this level is above the 10 commandments. The Rebbe says, and we may say that the intention of Hashem in him acting so that he did not lead them through the straightforward path. Instead, he steered them through the desert. The Rebbe is explaining something we may say is, remember, is a chiddush, something new. The Rebbe is explaining how to look at this whole thing in a wonderful way, and how to take from this whole action that we were 40 years in the desert, how it's going to explain to us how beautiful what we did, and we made the world a wonderful place, and this is what we're doing now. Every word the Rebbe is strengthening us, that we should be happy and more strength in serving Hashem and being better Jews and making people happy. So we may say the intention of Hashem in him acting so that he did not lead them through the straightforward path, and instead he steered them through the desert, in essence a distance of 11 journeys. Instead, Hashem brought them through the desert for 40 years, which for 40 years was at the level of 11 you are 1, however, not in the tally of 10, who transcends the 10 spheres, and the 10 commandments should be drawn down and revealed in them in internal fashion through going through the desert 40 years. 140 years attains at a person has to be 40 years until he attains understanding. So the Rebbe is explaining over here a very special thing, that the level when the Jews receive the Torah, they have this level, this high special level of 11. However, Hashem did not want this level 11 to be revealed in the whole world. So therefore, when the Jews traveled for 40 years in the desert, that by them traveling for 40 years in the desert, they affected the whole world, the whole desert. The travel was to pick up and to take out all the sparks of holiness and make the world a special place for Hashem. And that's what they did. And also, there's another thing it says that a person is not till the same Pirkei Avos, that it wasn't until 40 years a person attains understanding. So in other words, you really start to attain. What's it mean you attain understanding? You know it. It's not something that's outside you. It becomes part of you. Which upon the completion of 40 years, they attained the phenomena that Hashem gave you a heart to understand, eyes to see, and ears to hear. They understood about Hashem. And since a person does not completely grasp the wisdom of his teacher and his ways of thinking until 40 years of studying, which is this level of complete understanding that they attained at the end of the 40 years alludes to the complete internalization. So this, the level of understanding complete, it means we completely internalize something, that then there is the revelation of the level of 11. And then there is the revelation of the level of 11. In other words, you bring this level of 11 down into you. Moreover, they draw in the revealed level of 11 also in this physical world, which through this, the entering into the land of Israel is in a complete manner. In other words, in order for the Jews could have gone into Israel earlier, if the Jews went earlier into Israel, I don't know, could have, but if they went earlier into Israel, they could have lived in a level, but the whole world would not have been elevated. The whole world wouldn't have been changed. But by Jews having to go through the world and be holy Jews and doing Torah mitzvahs and being special people and elevating the darkness wherever they are, showing that there's no real darkness, it's all godliness. So the Jews doing this, they elevate the whole world, everything in the world. By elevating the whole world, then that's even more special. And that means that it's more of a higher level and more of a true complete redemption. Because through the world is the essence of Hashem is revealed. So, this is why we went 40 years in the desert. And to add, that this concept is alluded to in the beginning of the Parsha. And it was that when Paro sent out the nation from Egypt, which alludes to powers of holiness. Remember we talked about there's a level of power of unholiness, which most people think about, but the Rebbe is talking mostly about the level of power of holiness, is the level where, now Paro's house is the house of God, where everything's revealed. And everything's revealed in a way of bursting forward. It's barui. So he says over here, and it was that when Paro sent out the nation from Egypt, which alludes to power of holiness, that the level of the fifth is for Paro. Paro was an idiom for Ispura bursting forth, that all the godly lights burst forward and are revealed by him. As he says, the fifth, then there was the Paro is the idea of the fifth as a holy level. The fifth is for, but that says that and the power was an idiom for bursting forward, that all the godly lights burst forward and revealed from him. That the level that transcends the four letters of the name of Vaya, it's similar to that you are one, however, not entirely one. And this is the phenomenon that when Bar was sent out the nation, it's the reason for the continuation of the verse. And Hashem did not lead them to the straightforward path, and he steered them through the desert for 40 years, so that the level of power of holiness should be drawn down into the world into eternal fashion. This is like an amazing thing that Rebbe explaining. He's saying, why did it says that Paro sent the Jews out? Because it really was the power of holiness, the highest level where everything's revealed, the house of God. He gave the Jews this, and since he gave the Jews this, and Hashem sent the Jews out, so therefore Hashem said, I want you to go straight, I want you to go through the world and shine up the whole world with godliness. And this is what they did. Let's read this over. And to add that the concept is alluded to in the beginning of the Parsha, that this concept of revealing godliness every place is that it was that when Paro sent out the nation from Egypt, this was part of holiness. The level of the fifth is for Paro. Paro is an idiom for is spariu, bursting forward, meaning that all the godly lights burst forward and are revealed from him. The level that transcends the four letters of Hashem Havai, the name of Havai, are similar to this letter, the fifth letter it transcends. It's similar to what we talked about, that you are one, the level of the number of 11. 11 is not part of the 11, it's above and beyond, it's one by itself. The you are one, however, not entirely down. This is a phenomenon when Paro was sent out of Egypt, out the nation of Egypt, is the reason for the continuation of the verse, and Hashem did not lead them through the straightforward path, and he steered them through the desert for 40 years, so that the level of power of holiness shall be drawn down into the world in an eternal fashion. So, okay, let's go further. So in other words, so we see that going out from Egypt was only a level that only even Hashem had to send himself, so to speak, part of Kedusha, to send the Jews out of Egypt, because he's sending us on a shlichus. I mean, the Rebbe doesn't put in these words, but it's very evident he was sending us, Hashem was sending us as a shlichus, as a missionary, to light up the whole world. That's why he himself had to be part of the light of Hashem himself. Because of that, with this high level that the Jews had, this level of Chodesh to the 11th, therefore Hashem said, you have to take this level and shine the whole world up with it. And this is also alluded in the Song of Dvar in the Haftorah, B'fros, Provs, in the Jewish people, that the land was quiet for 40 years. It says over there, the land by Dvar was after they fought the wars, and Dvar sang praises to Hashem, that the land was quiet for 40 years, that the extremely great revelation of Bifroa Proras, that all the godliness of this means that all the godly lights is Peria burst forward and are revealed from him. So this happened when Hashem, when they won the wars, Dvar saw this great revelation of how godliness came into the world, is drowned down in the Jewish faith in the form of that the land is in a matter, and it was quiet and settle in eternal fashion for the service during 40 years. In other words, this level of godliness was revealed that to such a level that the world was at peace and the Jews could serve Hashem settle in a peaceful way. So the whole idea of revelation from godliness is that there should be peace. Everything should be at peace. This is what he's saying here. Number 4, we're on page 178. What is the timing at now?
37.
Okay, so we're going to quit now. It's Hashem, we're going to finish. We're going to continue tomorrow. These are very, very intense sikhas in one sense. In that sense, if you go through them and don't be afraid of them and just listen and read through it, you're going to get a lot. And the essence is why can we get a lot? Because this is the Rebbe explained, this is really where we're at now. This is who and what we are. We the special level. And once you understand the Rebbe is explaining something that's for us, that's our special level, so we'll be able to get it. And we'll be able to live with it. And you know that people who study this regularly throughout the world, that there's groups of them, that they're happier, they have more optimism, they're going out and doing more. So hopefully this should affect us, and that we should be able to take this inside ourselves, just like going through the desert 40 years. We should be able to take the words of Rebbe Malchus inside ourselves, that it permeates our whole being. And by doing that, we'll be spreading godliness in the whole world, and we'll come right away to the final revelation, the final gula that will be in the third base of Mikdash right away. Sei gesund, everybody, and be well. Yehi Adonenu Moreinu Venu Melech HaMashiach Li'olam Voed. No.